probably going to be the shortest video I have ever done on YouTube. I just want to talk about a few things in your living room and in my living room. Ready? I'm not going to touch on rugs. I'm not going to touch on curtains because I have talked about these in depth in so many of my videos. Check out any of the videos, you'll probably find me talking about curtains, you'll probably find me talking about rugs. So the first thing I want us to talk about is your walls, right? Remember, your walls in your living room or in literally in any space are like the skeleton of the space. There is literally nothing else without the walls, right? And you need to make sure you get it right. What I mean about get it right is that you need to make sure that your walls are like this, meaning the paint on your walls like this. Your walls don't have holes, they don't have cracks, they don't have any of that if you want a good looking home. Talking about paint, there is so many different colors of paint that you can go for. You don't have to go with white just because I will say to have white living rooms. So many options. You have options that are light, you have options that are dark. You can go wherever you want, but remember, this is a living room. You don't want to pick a gray like this that's too dark. For me, especially if you have a small home, I would not recommend. So I would always recommend you to go on the lighter side of colors, on the lighter side of the palette, okay? Perfect. If you say, okay, Setu, you say we must choose a light color but not white, what other colors are there? You've asked the right person. I have a project that I'm doing right now with the client, and the client said the same thing. And we chose this color. This is such a beautiful color because this color is not white. It's not a simple white, but it is something in the middle, right? And it's something still neutral and modern that she wanted. This color is called Silhouette, and it is from the Fired Earth brand of paints. There's so many others. This one, and there's so many that you can choose from. If you say, okay, that's nice, but I don't want any light color, I want a color that's a little bit dark because I want to create that moody living room. I like that moody, cozy living room as well, even though I don't have it in my house. So if you are going with that, these are some of the colors that you can consider. Now that we have our beautiful walls painted, everything, all the holes are fixed, everything is proper, now I want us to talk about the couch. In any space, there are items that you need to choose that this is the item that I want to splurge on. This is the item that's going to take a huge chunk of my budget. And a couch is usually the one when you're doing your living room remodel or your living room thing, because it is usually very expensive. A normal couch, I mean like an L couch, even a 3-seater couch can go from 8,000 all the way up to 30,000. I am not saying you need to buy a couch that's 30,000. Obviously, it depends on the material, it depends on where it was made and all of those other things. I don't think you necessarily need to buy a couch that's 30,000 rands. You can buy a couch that's good quality that is half the price. Okay, and also remember with your couch, you can always custom make it. You don't have to go to Decofen and take the first L couch that you see. You don't have to go to Mr. Price Home and take the first 3-seater couch that you see there. You can always custom make. There's so many businesses that make couches. I also custom made mine and it was 8,000 rands. Speaking of money, drop a comment down below and let us know if you are comfortable, obviously. Let us know how much you bought your couch. I just want to bring light for everyone else to understand that a couch can be really expensive. I also want to talk about when you go buy a couch, you need to always measure the space. Always measure the space that you have. Say you want an L couch, right? What type of L couch do you want? Because remember, there's different sizes. So you need to measure the space that you have so that when you go buy the couch, the space that you need to consider before buying a couch is what material are you going for and what color you going for. You can get the upholstered linen ones that a lot of people have. This material is very easy to clean and a lot of people have it, and it's usually in the cheaper end of things. Or you can go with the leather material. Normal real leather is usually very expensive, but this is so easy to clean and it's so easy to take care and maintain, especially if you have care. If you're going for that cozy moody vibe, velvet will definitely work. I love velvet because it's very cozy and moody. Velvet, remember, velvety, it's not easy to maintain, especially if you have kids and stuff, because there'll always be hands, prints, and all of those stuff. But for people with no kids, usually velvet works. And with the color, the easiest way to think about it, make sure that you go for a couch that is going to contrast the color of your walls. If a darker wall color, then your couch needs to be in the lighter side of the palette, and then vice versa, right? Last thing I want to talk about is empty walls. This, almost every client that I have ever consulted since we started has asked about empty walls. Like, I don't know what to do with empty walls, especially big empty walls like that one. I don't know what to do with this. We have options, guys, options. The first option that a lot of people don't think about is putting a wallpaper in there. You can make, especially I'm talking if the layout of your house is where you have your couch against this big empty wall. What you can do, you can make that wall an accent wall of the house. And you can do that by a wallpaper. A lot of clients are like, what? A wallpaper? I'm like, it can work. And these are some of the examples where you can see this done. If you don't feel comfortable with the wallpaper, and obviously wallpaper is the cheap way of doing it. Another cheap way of doing it, you can paint that wall a different color, a color that's a little bit different from the rest of the walls. And then that way you also are creating that accent wall. Remember, I'm here to give you options, right? Another option would be to put wall art in there. I would not recommend putting small pieces, small frames of art. Always go big. Remember, in one of my videos I said, if you have a small house, let go of the mentality that you need to buy small stuff. So if you have this big wall that you don't know what to do with it, but you have a small space, your space is generally small, go for a big art. Put a big wall art in there. And these are some of the examples. And then what happens if you have an empty wall in your living room, but it's not too big where you can put wall art, or it's just like located in a very weird way, but it's there and it's like bothering you? These are the options that you can think about. You can put floating shelves in there. You should always remember, you can't like put floating shelves from there to there. That's like too big. But if it's a space that's generally not too small but not too big at the same time, you can put your floating shelf. And the last option, and this is, I really like this. If I had the space to do this in my home, I would have really already done it. Put a reading nook in your living room. This is a thing. A lot of people think a reading nook needs to go to your bedroom. No, you can, or in your office or study. No, you can actually have a reading nook in your living room. The last thing I want to talk about is these freestanding mirrors. I've seen on Instagram, I've seen on TikTok, I've seen everywhere. A lot of people having these freestanding mirrors on their living room. I think this would work if you don't have kids, but I think it's going to be very difficult if you have kids. It looks very Instagrammable and so beautiful and so nice, that freestanding gold mirror in there, but if you have kids, it might not work because it's quite dangerous. Kids, you know, they touch and thing everywhere. What you can do is make sure that you hang it on the wall and you hang it tightly and you hang it securely. But I don't know, with kids it can always just fall. I think if you don't have kids, this would work for you, but if you have kids, it might not work. And also, if you're just generally a clumsy person, or you host a lot and you know you have parties a lot in your space, this might not work for you. Remember, you need to always think what will work for your space and what will work for your situation, right? Okay, I really hope that these have helped you guys. Drop a comment down below and let me know if these were super helpful, and if you have an empty wall in your living room, what have you done with it, or what you are thinking of doing with it. I love and appreciate you for being here. I'll see you next time. Bye.